Hello there, I'm Big Ali. It's going to be a quick one this morning. Just throwing a quick video at you and seeing if you pick it up. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, I haven't really spoken much about Assassin's Creed on this channel. I think I did one review of the game that came out last year, and it was alright. Like I feel as though the series is actually finally heading on the up. But I, along with a lot of people, was very excited for this one. It's an aesthetic that a lot of people get very excited about right now. For anyone who doesn't know, by the way, I realize I haven't mentioned what the aesthetic is. It's old style, like Shogun, Japanese stuff. As someone who is an Xbox gamer and who had to sit back and watch everyone fawn over Ghost of Tsushima. Damn it, Ghost of Tsushima? Yes, it's time for the Elmer Fudd clip. Everyone's just fawning over that. It's nice to know that I'll eventually get a game that is sort of going to be similar, and from what I can tell, it probably will be quite similar. But what we have now is a cinematic trailer for this, and I've got to say, I'm very impressed. This may be the most impressed I've been about a Ubisoft trailer for a while. I don't usually get too impressed by them because I see them and I just see like, oh, I'm just going to be capturing bases, blah, 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 blah. Even when they bust out Giancarlo Esposito, even when they do that for Far Cry 5, and it's like, well, I'm not too impressed, actually. We'll see when it comes to it. And I know I'm not going to buy the games. That's the thing. That's the thing. Even with the games that I have reviewed on here, that are Ubisoft games, they're typically just Ubisoft Plus, which I'll get for a bit when I'm interested in a new Ubisoft game, or they're just when they come onto Game Pass. So I watched this with a lot of intrigue. I thought it looked really cool. Coming off of Shogun, the Disney Plus show, the very impressive, amazing Shogun show, the aesthetic felt very similar here, and I mean that in a good way. I feel as though they kind of nailed it with Shogun. And no, I know it may not be historically accurate. The aesthetic may not be 100% historically accurate, but it's one I thought was cool, and it was a show, and it was a cool aesthetic. That's what I want from a show. It's also what I want from a game. I don't need this to be realistic, but I do want it to look cool, and I think it looks cool as hell, man. I really do. But of course, it's 2024, and it has a black protagonist, so I guess I have to discuss, I hate to say it, controversy. People are mad. People are mad because this game dared to have a black lead. How unacceptable. A lot of people are going to be gritting their teeth when they watch this. Just like, yeah, well, it's set in Japan. Why would there be a black lead? Well, first, this is a story that has been told many times. This is a story. It's something that did happen. I've seen a lot of people, throw the classic incel joke up there with, whatever I identify as an attack helicopter. The classic incel joke of, well, let's make a White Panther then. It's like, okay, well, firstly, someone very aptly brought up the fact that didn't Neo, a Japanese game, have a white protagonist? It's so crazy how people had no issue with Neo having a white protagonist, but suddenly, you throw a black protagonist, this is unacceptable. They're not Japanese. Also, this is, like I said, it's a story that's been told. I'm pretty sure there's an anime about it on Netflix. I think Lakeith Stanfield is tied to it in some way. It's a story that is real. If anything, compared to all of the other Assassin's Creed games, this would be the most realistic. This would be the most historically realistic. And if you have an issue with quote-unquote realism and historic realism in this, plagiarizing history, have an issue with every single other Assassin's Creed game, not the one that is actually trying to stick to a story that has been told in history. This is what I've heard anyway. And I do know that there was some Black Samurai back in that time as well. Like I said, this story has been told before. Also, don't worry about it. I mean, like, if this is a problem for you, then I think this is just going to be a problem for you. The aesthetic is still going to be the same. From what we can tell, it's still going to be coated with samurais and all types of thing from that era. You're still going to get your fill of it. I don't see how seeing all of this stuff could lead you to the conclusion that you're not going to see the stuff that you literally just saw. It's still going to be the same aesthetic. You're still going to be using samurai swords. And I think, personally speaking, that this era and this aesthetic fits Assassin's Creed better than any other era and aesthetic they've chosen. Like, American Civil War was so confusing to me, but this just straight up makes sense. All of it makes sense to me. And I'm actually very excited for the game. This may be the first Ubisoft title that I actually outright buy for a while. I don't know if I will. I find their games still be a little bit overwhelming. And from what I've heard, it's going to be a big, massive open world with a billion things to do, which I'm not a fan of. So we'll see about that. But so far, color me impressed. I'm very impressed by this, and I'm really looking forward to the game. So great trailer drop, Ubisoft. Though I haven't forgotten about the sexual misconduct claims. So I'll do one later.
The PlayStation's only $149, and you can also get leading titles.